So what is a state? Well, what are we looking at here? Are we looking at states? Pick out a state. I'm from South Carolina. Is that state? I didn't mean to do that. Is Texas? They sometimes might think of themselves as a country unto themselves. I saw a map the other day on fan maps on Instagram. If you guys have Instagram, follow fan maps. It's pretty legit. But they said that Texas is the number one state on this map. Texas is the number one state that we would like to see pushed out of the union. Got a picture of North and South Korea states. What's going on here? Are we looking at states? Here are some micro states. These are called micro states. We're looking at the continent of Europe. You've got little countries or little states called Andorra, Monaco, Liechtenstein, San Marino, Vatican City. We might have heard of Vatican City, right? Are these states? Wait, are these states in the same way that these are states? All right, so what in the world is a microstate? How does that play into what our definition is? Here's South Carolina. Your whole life is a lie. What do I mean by that? Let me tell you. That right there, by the definition that we're looking at in AP Human Geography for geopolitics, is not a state. I said it. It's not a state. Here's the definition that you guys need to know for a state. And actually, this is what you'll come up with if you Google it. Okay, and it says this, and I wouldn't write this down exactly. I'll give you a better definition in a minute. But a nation or territory considered as an organized political community under one government. All right, what exactly is that saying? Okay, there are three characteristics of a state. Here they are. The first is you have to have defined territory within defined borders, okay, that no one can dispute. Defined territory. Number two, you have to have people living in that territory. And number three, you have to have sovereignty. In other words, the ability to determine or govern what happens in that territory without outside influence. In other words, one government with the power to enact law and the power to govern the land. So this word nation, I would not think of a nation, for the sake of what we're going to talk about today, as a synonym with a state. Now, we're going to get to nation towards the end of this presentation, but know that even though these two words are used interchangeably, we're going to define them differently in human geography. Okay, we're going to know them by different things. Here are the characteristics. I just now said it. Number one, you have to have territory. Territory is defined by a set boundary. France. Does France have territory? Yes, of course it does. It even has boundaries you can clearly see on this particular map. If I put it on a political map of Europe and showed you France next to all the other countries in Europe, you would also see that, in fact, has political boundaries. That is undisputed. Everybody knows it. It is to pull a Unit 1 term, it is a formal region. No one's going to dispute what France is. Is Lexington a state? Lexington is a county within South Carolina. It has territory, it has boundaries, but we don't think of that as a state because it's a county. And I just said that even South Carolina is not a state by our AP Human Geography definition of what that is. So what is it that South Carolina and Lexington lacks? Well, they have people, don't they? So Lexington County and South Carolina as a whole, and any other state in the United States, such as Texas or Georgia or California, they all have territory and people. We aren't going to dispute that. But what they don't have is the power to rule. They don't have complete sovereignty. Now, wait a minute. I understand that we live in a federal system. All right. Maybe we'll talk more about this later on in another lecture, but a federal system, basically states share their power with the federal government. But ultimately, what is stated at the federal level is the law of the land. Okay, a state has no ability to go beyond that authority. So this is the reason why you can't see South Carolina engage in a diplomatic, any kind of political diplomacy with another sovereign state like China or or France or whatever it might be. All right. So the United States as a whole, the federal government of the United States has to do business with other countries. That's why, if I look way back here, what are we looking at? Well, these aren't individual, these aren't states, or as in these don't have territory, people, and sovereignty, but the United States of America as a whole, they have all three of those, don't they? We know the set territory and boundaries of the U.S. We know that there are people living in there, and they also fall under the sovereignty of the United States government. So what I'm saying here is that when we look at the definition, there it is right there. Stupid me. When we look at the definition of a state in AP Human Geography, we are looking at a synonym with what we know as a country. There we have it. The state, as in the United States, is kind of like a province or a part of a country that may exist, but it doesn't have sovereignty. That's the point that I'm trying to make. So a state is really another way of saying a country. States in the U.S. do not have sovereignty. They depend on, or sovereignty is had only by the United States government as a whole.